did it. Thank you. Okay, I got it. Good morning, everybody. All right, here we go. Go ahead. Shay?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can, but I can't see you. Oh, there you are.
Okay, marvelous introductions. Thank you ever so, everyone here attending, and Rachel Balanset, she and Animasha. Um, she has been a wonderful mentor, and she healed herself from an autoimmune disease, and she is a regenerative health practitioner. She's got practice in Ayurveda, and she's got permaculture certifications, and there's just so many different things that's really beneficial for the education and empowerment that we bring to you today. World champion athlete. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you coming today, and I'm glad that it was important enough for so many of you to make it. This is a really important topic. We're talking about autism and anxiety, and the two can overlap. So I hope that this will be very helpful for you today. And thank you, Shay. Shay is a new member to the team, and she also is a healer, Reiki practitioner, and I really appreciate how many people you've been helping since you've become one of our health coaches. So thank you so much. I wanted to start with talking about this hold on a second. I'm hearing an echo. Hold on a second. All right, we've got multiple people in the house listening to this, so I had to deal with the echo. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about was a term that's been used to describe neurological development lately. And so some people use the word neurotypical and neuroatypical. Has anybody heard that recently? These words, neurotypical and neuroatypical. And so autism is sometimes called, some people will call it neurodivergent. And the reason why is that it's important to honor the gifts that also can come with autism. And I'll just say that I'm on the autistic spectrum. I actually don't feel offended by whatever people choose to use. I'm on the autistic spectrum. It doesn't mean anything to me either way. It's just who I am. And my tendency has been towards Tourette's and OCD. And speaking of which, there's someone around behind me and it's distracting me. That's a perfect example of how this presents itself. Is like, I can't think when there's somebody standing right next to me. What do you need, babe? What do you need?
I'm a piece of paper and I'm just...
Here's your paper. And he's got Asperger's. So the two of us make a great pair. So this is a perfect example of how things can happen. He must have the piece of paper right now and he must find it. And he gave me permission to talk about it today. So this is like perfect that we're starting out just talking about exactly what this is and what this looks like, where things have to be a certain way sometimes. And so these are all kind of blurred lines. OCD can present, OCD is considered more of a mental disorder, quote unquote disorder. And autism is more considered something that people are born with. But actually autism can actually develop from heavy metal poisoning. My autism didn't occur until I was 3, after I had a number of ear infections and antibiotics. And also there was a lot of toxins in our household. My mother had the house sprayed for cockroaches, and she noticed that I started having all these symptoms after that. And so it's really interesting how just the kind of variety of ways that people can react from metal toxins, toxins in general, how these can influence us. Yes, sometimes babies can receive metals, especially mercury, from the womb, and this can impact them. And so sometimes it's considered something that started from birth, but you can also observe some of these from early on, from babyhood. From the moment a child is born, they can start. You don't know when those symptoms start. You don't actually know when they. I've got my cat here jumping up. You don't know when they actually begin. Sometimes because toxins can pollute us at any time through our lives. So I really love that there is a stand for people who are on the spectrum or who have autism. And sometimes other things that can be included in the word neurodivergent is depression, anxiety, like people who suffer from like extreme like panic attacks, or Tourette's can look like shouting out words. Sometimes there's just no filter, and a person with Tourette's might just like say whatever's on their mind. It can appear very blunt, and sometimes they can be extremely painful. And I'm going to also create a few more co-hosts, because Stephanie, I'm going to make you a co-host because there's still people popping into the room and I can't keep track. So the word neurodivergent is still embracing people as being, equally valuable in our society and as humans, and not necessarily making a claim that these are less than, or that there are disabilities, that these are not disabled people, but considered differently abled. So you've heard that term too, differently abled. Sometimes people will say they're just differently abled. We are all differently abled. We all have different things contribute. One of the kind of blessings of autism, or it can be that can be extreme ability to extreme intelligence, incredible ability. Sometimes some are extremely gifted at math and can be great at computer programming. And some of the gifts can be hyper focusing. ADHD is not necessarily always considered on the autistic spectrum, but people with ADD or ADHD are also sometimes will consider themselves neurodivergent. And this is one of the abilities can be to hyper focus and to like there can be complete distraction, but when they're really passionate about something and they get interested, they can be hyper focused for 8 hours at a time. For instance, there can be like this incredible ability to really get things done in the area that they're focused on. So I'm seeing some smiles. So it's really beautiful to think of us as part of the rainbow, that we're all just contributing different things to the world. And there's also high functioning and low functioning that we'll talk about, that you'll hear people mention. So like a high functioning on the spectrum might be myself and my partner. So, we can work and we can lead a Zoom and we can do all kinds of other activities that are, that neurotypical people can do. Sometimes one of the things that can be a gift for neuroatypical could be not caring about social norms. So there could be this like just complete lack for social norm. I'm not saying myself specifically, but in general, we might be not conforming. And it's not necessarily rebellion. It's just that it's not something that we're not there. They might not be completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Worried, like not have like a big ego, concerned or worried or about like what other people think. And it kind of might look like disregard sometimes, or it might look like it might appear to other people as or atypical neurotypical people as harsh or awkward or things like that. But sometimes there can be comfort in that as well. Like I really admire that my partner doesn't really think about what other people think. He just doesn't worry about that. It's just doesn't enter his mind. He doesn't even understand it sometimes. And so there's something actually quite endearing about that. So So obviously this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. It took me a while to figure out what I had. I had Tourette's, and I would twitch. Mine didn't come in the form of blunt words. I think some people might think I'm blunt, but mine came in the form of tics. So I would constantly like have to move my arm, or I would clear my throat, and I would have to do it a number of times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or I might have to like lock and unlock a door a few times, or I might have to turn a light, especially if there's stress. So here's where anxiety comes in. This is why I match these two, like anxiety with autism. So like anxiety might be, like my partner might be like, we have to get somewhere, we have to hurry, and he's in the car and he's like ready to go, and for him, like that's his anxiety, like we must be early, oh my gosh, we'll die if we're not early. And then the stress for me is like, oh my god, there's so much stress, and so much pressure to get out the door. Suddenly I'm like turning on and off light switches. I'm like, wait, hold on, let me count to 10, let me do this 10 times. All right, so like I might do something a ridiculous amount of times trying to get out the door. Okay, so these are just some of the examples. That's like more of a Tourette's thing, and the thing is that it's not involuntary. It's just that it's so compelling that I must walk in circles, or I must touch something. I must touch something before I leave. I must say like, please close that door, but press it closed, like touch it, like push it all the way in, and it's like this feeling of like, oh, I must have that happen. So I'm just curious, like if anyone can relate, if you know someone like this, or you have a child like any of the things that I've mentioned, I'd love to like just hear in the chat maybe what you've experienced around either your children or yourself or other people, if any of this is relative. Okay, I'm seeing a yes, thank you. I can relate totally. Wow. So yeah, you might actually come onto this call and suddenly like be self-diagnosing, right? Like, okay, so it took me a while to figure out that I even had Tourette's. I did not know. I mean, people made fun of me sometimes when I was younger, and I definitely suffered a lot. And I would just be like, Mom, why do I have to always do this? And I'd be like, why? And she felt so bad that I was suffering with these compulsions that were so strong. And then, so that was the Tourette's. But then later in my life, it became really clear that I had OCD, because I would have to clean my room, have everything extremely clean. And my mom was like the one mom who would be telling her kid, can you please not clean your room today? Can you try not to reorganize your drawers today? And she would just be like trying to negotiate with me, like today you can just relax and maybe try to just focus on, breathing and doing some homework first. And you don't have to clean your whole room before you do your homework, because I would be up till like 2 a.m. doing homework, because I'd have to clean my entire room and have to reorganize. I had to make sure all my drawers were organized, my closet was organized, and even the house. I would even clean the whole house sometimes, and I would make sure that everything in the cabinets were totally organized. And so, but then I would do my homework at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, and then I'd be up till late because I had been cleaning the whole time. So this could be an excess, but it's also a gift, because I tend to have things pretty organized and clean. So these are gifts, and they're just different ways of being. Now, it was a lot of stress for me, and it was a lot of stress for my mother, because she could see how much it was stressing me out, how much I was constantly living in this anxiety. So, when people say, want to just say like, oh, the playing, we're all the same. Thank you. I'm getting a kiss. He said, thanks, babe. He said, I love you, and I totally support you. Now, no matter how many boundaries I have, if I tell my partner, don't interrupt me during a meeting, he's going to do what he is compelled to do, because it is such a strong compulsion. He has to come and do that thing that feels right to him, right? So no matter how many times I've said that, he's going to like live his own way. And there's something very charming about that, right? There's something very charming about that. So he had a meltdown during one of my Zooms the other day, and came in and like was just having this meltdown, that he didn't worry about the fact that I'm on the Zoom with 40 people. And but he apologized to me and said, please tell everybody on the Zoom I'm sorry for that. It's just, and he's like realizing he's wanting to learn how to self-regulate in this way, that he's not interrupting everything that's going on. But he's very endearing in that way too. It's very endearing. There's something super endearing about this quality. we found each other, and the first thing I did was I spotted right away that he had Asperger's, and I said he didn't know it, but I spotted right away. And I watched this movie called Monet and the Whale. Has anyone ever seen the movie Monet and the Whale? Put that on your list. It's about a couple who are on the spectrum. Now, I don't know what their different things are, but his thing was like he would watch the microwave and count the numbers and go, oh my gosh, 88, that's 8 plus 8. Those are divisions of 4 and divisions of 2. And he would just, every time he'd see a number, he'd get excited because he would see all the different connections around a number. It was like numerology, right? And then the woman had particular things that were for her. And she was more like Tourette's and like burst out loud, and she was like very like flamboyant and laughing and just, you know, and their relationship was just so sweet, and it reminded me a lot of us. So see Monet and the Whale. It's a beautiful film. I can hear Tony clicking in the background. He's making those clicks that he does. And he always laughs at himself, and he's like, am I making that clicking sound? Okay. So these are all just beautiful examples, you know, of just who we are. And, you know, we have embraced who we are, and we celebrate it, and we laugh at ourselves. If we get into like a conflict that there's like stress, we just say, OCD, help. All right. And it's kind of a joke between us.
That does work.
And it does work, he says. So this is kind of a picture that we're using ourselves as an example of what this is like. I'm glad to see smiles on the call, and it's fun to be so transparent. I've never really talked about it at length with my team, so some of them are on here and getting to hear about this. So we've got the definition, we've got the kind of picture of what autism looks like. Another thing that can happen in autism, they can like rock back and forth to regulate themselves, and they'll rock, or they might sway, or they may walk in circles. So on the lower functioning end of autism, they could be nonverbal, but just because they're nonverbal doesn't mean that they don't understand what's happening. They may be living in a world of compulsions where they just have to move a certain way, and they may have vocal tics, and they may communicate in a different way. But a parent can visibly see their child in a lot of stress. If they're like rocking, it's like must be something really stressful happening. They may be very sensitive to sound. They may go like this a lot. They could be extremely sensitive to sound. My partner is extremely sensitive to sound, and flavors and like textures. Like it's like, oh God, gross. You know, they could have very strong preferences. It might be hard for them to even just get dressed. It might be hard for them to get along with people at school. They could be bullied. They could be very like non-eye contact, like they don't make eye contact. There can be on the lower functioning end, there could be like no eye contact and nonverbal. And they call that lower functioning because it just means that they need more assistance in like getting to school, getting out the door, and just making food for them, and not being able to necessarily care for themselves. And so as they get older, they still continue to require assistance with meals and caretaking and things like that. So that's a kind of a picture, and I'm sure if you guys feel free to throw in the chat anything else that you have noticed in maybe people that you love who have autism. Monet and the Whale is an old one, so you'll have to find that. Yeah, thank you for all of your appreciation. My mom has Asperger's. We are now just realizing it, and I definitely have OCD. Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that. You're sharing all this is life-changing for me. Oh, thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. So yeah, and now we've got Brianna's wondering if I wonder if I have OCD too now. Thank you. I'm really appreciating that. And yeah, I've spent a lifetime learning how to embrace this for myself and just live with myself and be okay with it, and finding a partner who accepts me as I am, and I can accept him too. And we just have to have our meltdown sometimes. But here's one thing I want to say is that I have one of the things that happened is I also developed some illnesses along the way as a result, I think, of many antibiotics and having lots of different for my ear infections. I had strep as a kid. I had a lot of ear infections. I had a lot of antibiotics. And with those, it became more and more increased. And then I had a bunch of different vaccinations that are standard, but with all these different types of, and like in the vaccinations that I was taking when I was a kid had mercury in them. And the one now has graphene oxide. And so these can also exacerbate our issues, which could be anxiety or stress or having more tics or more of these kind of like outbursts or whatever kind of symptoms you see. And so that's been like the big controversy, around vaccinations is Robert F. Kennedy helped people become aware of how the relationship between the mercury in different vaccines early on and how that was affecting children. And so he created the Children Health Defense and organization to help bring awareness to that. And some people have seen, Deanne, were you one who did you tell me that you noticed a visible difference after having your children vaccinated or something like that? Was that you?
Yes.
Would you mind
Yes.
sharing that? Would you mind sharing that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Bringing you on the spot. I didn't tell you I was going to have you on the call today, but you look lovely.
No, that's absolutely fine. I tell the story in my book, Cruel Diagnosis, and we weren't aware of any of this, even though the 1986 NCVIA law had been passed in 3 years before our children were ever injured. But we took our babies to the doctor and they got the MMR, both of them. And that night we put them to bed. They went to sleep just fine. And then we went to bed and went to sleep for a little while, and all of a sudden woke up with them screaming, hitting their heads on their beds. They were had a lot of drool and everything. And so I called the nurses line in a panic and said, does this have anything to do with the vaccines that they had today? And I was told, no, this is normal. They're just attention seeking. You need to let them cry it out. So our babies were not only in pain, they probably had encephalitis or something like that. They were developing encephalopathy, which is brain swelling. And we were told by the experts to go ahead and let them cry it out. So we sat in the hallway and my husband holding me from behind with me sitting with my knees to my nose, basically crying because I wanted to comfort my babies, but I was told that this was what was best for them. And we were ignorant. We didn't know because we had never raised children before. They were our first and second, the alpha and the omega, like my husband called them. And so we just took the nurse's words as honest truth and never questioned it again. And then after that night, they started developing eating, sleeping, and behavioral disorders. And our lives were literally turned upside down. We were just in survival mode from that time on. So that's basically what happened to us. And then it wasn't until, gosh, several years later, our son was 25 and he ended up in kidney failure. And we found out that all of the medications and everything brought him there. And he was over medicated for his own metabolism because people who are on the spectrum have a different metabolism. They cannot readily metabolize toxins as easily as someone with a healthy immune system can. So that's my story.
Thank you so much for sharing. So it was like very much overnight sudden for your children. And
Yes.
then you wrote the book Cruel Diagnosis. So that's a book that maybe you could put a link to that in the chat. I'd love to also keep you on and bring on Stephanie Dawn, who's actually one of the health coaches on my team. And Stephanie Dawn has actually naturally recovered from cancer. And she's an incredible scholar as well. And so I wanted to just bring her into this conversation with us and share a little bit about what you just wrote in the chat. Stephanie, where are you?
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Hi, good morning.
I need to spotlight you.
Well, I'm not coming on video, but I appreciate
That's okay.
I appreciate being able to offer my voice into this really important conversation. Well, I just want to start off by saying that I actually believe that I was vaccine injured up in Canada. My mom gave me all the vaccines, and as a young girl, and similar to you, Rachel, in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, the vaccines up in Canada had mercury in them. And some children are able to handle these heavy metals and, be functioning, or at least we don't know what damage it's doing. And for other children, that's just not the case. And that's what happened to me. Out of the blue, I began having epileptic seizures, and those seizures lasted for 7 years. And so, what you specifically wanted me to speak to, though, Rachel, was the 1986 Act, the law that President Reagan made law where pharmaceutical companies are not liable if any child or person is injured or dies from their product. And so this is highly problematic in our country today, that we have medicine on the market, and in some cases in the last several years, that is being force mandated for people to take it. And there's no liability for the vaccine manufacturers if there is any form of injury or even death. So this is something that needs to be repealed. There's an incredible film called 1986, The Act, and we just all need to be educating ourselves about what our government has done. They're basically in bed with these massive global corporations, and our health is not at the forefront. It's not the priority. So thank you so much, Rachel, for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. And I love that you're somebody who builds awareness. And Stephanie is the former chair of the Million Mom Movement, which is one of the branches of the company that we've aligned with, Purium, who actually, here, let me bring myself back on. That actually, so Purium is the company that we've aligned with that has created a protocol that has helped me incredibly. It's an incredible detox protocol. It helps with detoxing metals, it helps clean the liver, and it's just amazing how much it's helped me and how much I see it helping others, which we'll talk about a little bit, because part of this discussion is actually not just to leave you in, dang, everyone's, so messed up, but in like that there's solutions, and we have some solutions to offer you. To help with alleviate anxiety, to help maybe relieve some of the intensity of the behaviors and the inner experience that people on the spectrum might have. So yeah, the Million Mom Movement was created to help educate around things like glyphosate, which is a toxin in Roundup that destroys the gut. It kills all the flora and the fauna of the gut. These are herbicides that are sprayed on all different kinds of genetically modified plants, and it is and then genetically modified plants, in order to be able to resist dying from these herbicides, are genetically designed to actually become stronger to withstand the herbicide. So now you're eating food, quote unquote food. I don't even call it food. They call it frankenfood, right? So now you're eating genetically modified plants that are GMO, and you're having the herbicides that are sprayed on them to kill the weeds around them. So it's this crazy influx that we've been having. And with this rise of glyphosate through the years, also has risen the rise of autism, also has risen the rise of other diseases, diabetes, cancer. All these different illnesses have been shown when you look at the data, and you can look at the book, The Toxin That Came to Dinner, written by Dave Sandoval, who is the founder of Purium. And he wrote The Toxin That Came to Dinner, which shows graphs in the correlation between the rise of glyphosate and the toxin, and the rise of various illnesses with that rise, that they are equal. And then if you're a fan of Dr. Zach Bush, he also talks about the importance of the microbiome of the soil, and how the microbiome of the soil is actually impacting our food, which is impacting us. And so it's no wonder there's this incredible increase. It's not surprising to me that so many of you, as I'm talking, are saying, hey, I think I might have OCD. I think I might be on the spectrum. I feel I'm relating to all these different things, right? So, all of a sudden, there's this rise in everybody. If somebody could check their mutes. Mute buttons. Here, gotcha. And I'm going to add another person. I need another person to actually be a co-host to help mute people, because it is just, there we go. Thank you. So yeah, because I get distracted. Because my ADD gets involved. It's like, that's just the world we live in, right? So yeah, it's not surprising that we're having more and more of this this surge in all these different ailments that we're seeing, as well as the rise in autism. It's like, I think it's like 1 in 2 people. I don't know. Anybody who has data, go ahead and drop it in the chat and I'll read it, because I'm not going to say anything I don't know. But they are expecting autism to continue to rise, and so this is a serious issue. Now, what I wanted to talk about is where mercury gets trapped and why this is such a big deal, and where mercury comes from. So yes, there's mercury in some of the regular vaccines. They have created laws protecting the knowledge around that. There's also mercury also can get passed on through the womb, and so our great grandmothers around the turn of the century, in the 1800s to 1900s, and before that, were given mercury water called which they called quicksilver. And so quicksilver was actually some kind of remedy to help women with their whatever issues, these hormonal issues that were starting to come into play as there were certain viruses were becoming bigger and bigger, and women were starting to have hormonal issues. It used to be, I talked about this on last week on the multiple sclerosis call, that it used to be, or the menopause call, that it used to be like menopause was a time when women would start getting more energy, and they would start feeling more empowered and embodied, and even their sex drive would go up during menopause. So this used to be a time that women looked forward to. And then with the rise of Epstein-Barr virus and all these super viruses, these hormonal issues have come into play. And so now people dread menopause, like, oh no, hot flashes, oh my gosh, all these symptoms. But these are not necessarily normal, okay? They don't have to be normal. They don't have to be the way. And so literally, quite literally, Epstein-Barr virus is fed by toxins. It's fed by metals, okay? And so I talk about that. You can watch that replay if you like. But what I wanted to say is that so metals lower immunity. They actually lower immunity, and they actually feed viral loads. And mercury, for people who are dealing with autism, oftentimes what you'll find is that mercury is getting lodged in the gosh, what is it called? Hold on a second. Oh yeah, the cerebral midline canal. And so this part of the brain stays like, it's like a canal where things can flow through. And by the age of 18, that canal kind of seals off. And so any metals that have gotten in there are lodged in there. So it's really important to detox metals, especially up until the child is 18. That time in between, well, I didn't know about that. I did not detox until way later in life. I can tell you I've done a lot of metal detoxing. It has definitely helped me quite a bit. I definitely have less of my Tourette's. My OCD has gone down some. I'm able to kind of have a semi-normal, slightly messy, dirty house, which I celebrate because I would be like losing my mind. And so my anxiety has gone down quite a bit. And I actually have helped quite a few people with this protocol that we're going to describe, actually relieve anxiety quite a bit. And I'll show a picture of my friend Jilly, who she wasn't able to come to the call today because it's her daughter's birthday. But she was struggling with anxiety and was about to go on to some kind of anti-anxiety medicine. I don't remember if it was Xanax or what, but it was suggested by the doctor that she get onto this anti-anxiety medication. And she was still dealing with like postpartum stress and anxiety. A lot of times people will experience anxiety as a result of having a child, and then suddenly they're in sort of like this anxious PTSD mode, and they might be actually more irritable and just feeling more stress and exhaustion in their body. If you hear huffing and puffing, Tony's doing push-ups over here. No matter how many times I ask you to go to the bedroom, babe. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so so anyway, anxiety can be onset from postpartum. It can be onset from having a metal exposure, and it can be chronic throughout one's life if we haven't removed those metals from our body. So the protocol that I'm going to describe today includes a heavy metal protocol. So the protocol that has helped me is this 90-day protocol called the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation that Purium created, that Dave Sandoval, who wrote The Toxin That Came to Dinner, who was this like amazing activist for the earth. One other thing to say about Dave too is he's also the person, he and Amy, who are the founders of this company, actually lobbied and got us the USDA organic food label. Now I realize when I've said that in the past, when I said they've gotten us the USDA organic food label, people thought I meant they got Purium the USDA organic food label. No, I mean the nation. I mean, everybody who looks at that food label when they're trying to buy fruit, that came, you can thank Amy and Dave, the founders of this company, for championing, for lobbying, because they saw long ago that there's a problem and we need to distinguish the difference between food and not food. We need to know the difference and we need to be allowed to make that choice. And so, you know, there have been in the last few years, I've seen laws trying to push laws through that require that genetically modified food is labeled. We really tried to get that law into place. Like, let's just at least label genetically modified food so people can say, I don't want to choose that. I don't want to buy that, because it's banned in Europe. There are other places where genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are banned. So not here. So we want to have that label so that people can choose. Well, luckily we have the USDA organic label, which means it is not allowed to have genetically modified organisms. That's part of the USDA law. But the problem we're seeing is that now there's this drift. So now we can see that we can start to see contaminants even in the organic market, because there are cross drift of seeds which contaminate our plants. And then now suddenly some of our organic plants might have might be partly genetically modified because they've cross-pollinated with plants from a neighboring farm that is genetically modified. You see how that goes? So everyone wants to blame the USDA organic, but it's just like so hard to protect our crops from GMOs because there's cross drift, we've got cross-pollination, and we've also got herbicides that are going through the air and then they're wafting into our organic vineyards. And so, or I said vineyards because I'm in wine country. So what we do, we have like this, you know, I'm like living in the middle of like GMO, and I'm living in the middle of it right here. I'm in Sonoma County, I'm in Sebastopol. And so I quite literally am breathing glyphosate every day, I'm sure. So we're going to show you how these products can actually help reduce glyphosate. And, you know, one of the things that we've become more and more aware of is how glyphosate damages the gut, but also how the gut is related to the brain. Now we have the vagus nerve that goes from the gut to the brain. So everyone's really into the vagus nerve these days. We talk about healing the vagus nerve and like calming the vagal nerve. And there's all these different exercises now and books out about the vagal nerve. The vagal nerve goes quite literally from the belly to the brain. Okay, and so we have this relationship where if the gut is not in harmony, it can affect our mental well-being. It can affect our mental health. So we're seeing more and more people dealing with mental health issues, also with the rise of glyphosate. And so it is really important to detox the gut. It is important to detox glyphosate. Now, Purium carries the only product that has been stamped with a gold sticker by the detoxproject.org that has been clinically proven to remove glyphosate. And we're going to go over I'm going to show you those products in a moment, but it's been clinically proven to remove glyphosate from the gut. What is really incredible is that I have firsthand, I will also say that Purium, Dave Sandoval married one of my friends. Her name is Annie, and I don't know if she's on the call today, but so they basically they had a baby, and they also created their baby project, which was the Awaken Project, before they had their first child. And the Awaken Project is a project that helps, it does a few different things. It's a 4-day free retreat. You can apply and take your whole family on a free retreat if you have a child that's on the spectrum. And Annie has a degree in an area that has helped her learn how to help parents actually work better with their children, communicate better, and have a better relationship with their children who are lower functioning on the spectrum. And they also, and then bringing that with Dave's knowledge about nutrition, they also educate about nutrition. And so they actually help educate parents and also create a respite for parents where parents can actually take a break and enjoy some massages and like have some self-care time while someone else is very skillfully working with their children and helping their children have a great day. So you can, it's like just this amazing retreat that they've created, the Awaken Project. If someone could put the link in there, there is a website. Maybe Stephanie or someone could drop the link to that. So, so Purium has created this amazing protocol, or Dave has created this amazing protocol that is the Purium protocol. It's the ultimate lifestyle transformation. And if any of you want to try this product, you'll be able to get a 25% off discount from whoever invited you to the call or whoever's showing you this replay. You can get a 25% off discount code for these products. But let me go ahead and show you. This is what I did. So I was struggling with Hashimoto's, autoimmune disorder of the thyroid. And I found this protocol, and it actually within 10 days, all my symptoms of exhaustion, bloating, digestive issues, all disappeared. My energy went through the roof. I had like this incredible experience of transformation. Literally like this butterfly. I literally went from a caterpillar to a butterfly overnight. It was like this amazing, incredible transformation that I had that just woke me up, and I couldn't believe it. A year later, I was like, is this still happening? I can't believe I still feel good. And I can say that I was sick for 9 years. I've now been well for 9 years. And I thank this protocol. And I've shared this with many people. Thousands of people, and I've seen thousands of people have incredible results. And then also with that is also, I noticed that my stress level started to go down, and I actually felt like my PTSD was calming. And I also noticed that my Tourette's died down, and I became less anxious, and I became less touchy, needing to touch things all the time. All that stuff kind of quelled. So I've had a few different things that have helped me. That's not the only thing. I also early on in my life, in my 20s, did hypnosis, which helped me quite a bit. So I definitely also would recommend hypnosis if you have someone who's able to, because that calming down is really important. Because also when we're stressed, we release all this adrenaline into the system, which also feeds other pathogens and viral loads, and also can affect our gut. So I can say that this protocol definitely greatly relieved me. Now, I don't know if Barbara's on the line. I think she asked me for the replay, but I wanted to just say that I had this other woman who had, her son was in his 30s. I'm going to just tell you like 2 stories really quick about people who had remarkable experiences with this protocol. So her son tried these products, and he was in his 30s. I think he was actually a teacher, and but he was very stressed, and he didn't make much eye contact. This is my memory. So Barbara, if you're watching the replay, if I got it slightly wrong, I apologize, but this is from my memory a few years ago that she told me. But I remember that she came to me and she was in tears, and she was quite literally moved to tears. She said, my son is transformed. You know, she's like, he's doing more eye contact, and there's just something completely different about him. And now he wants to teach meditation. He's like, I don't know. She's like, it's like, he's so night and day from what I knew before. And specifically, I believe that the Biomedic was like one of the main products that she was using with him. I had another woman who I met at one of the Purium events, who her son was 12 years old, and he was literally struggling at school, like not able to get along with other kids. He was very anxious and very stressed and very irritated and irritable. And she said that all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, that his behavior totally transformed. That within 2 weeks, that he was suddenly making eye contact and actually asking for hugs, which was very unusual. And so he was wanting to hug everybody all of a sudden. So to me, this shows like a reduction of anxiety, like a lessening of anxiety, right? He's starting to feel more at peace, more able to get along, less stress in his body, and just able to actually look people in the eye and feeling more connected. There was another person who was another mother who was at one of these retreats that Dave and Annie created together from the Awaken Project. And so one of the things is that when you go on these retreats, you're actually eating this nutrition. You're actually taking all these these green drinks, and you're taking the Biomedic, which is the probiotic that removes glyphosate. And within a couple days, this kid had been constipated for a long time and was able to finally go to the bathroom regularly. And all of his behavior changed as well. And he became less stressed and showing less anxiety as well. So I've seen, and these are just 3 of many dozens and dozens of stories that I hear over and over again from parents who have autistic children, at just the kind of relief that they're seeing in their children. It doesn't mean that this is a cure. It doesn't mean that this is going to get rid of it entirely, but I have seen the symptoms and the stress levels lessen, which is definitely something that we want. I can say for myself personally, it is something I've noticed. When I noticed immediately that my mood went up, that I immediately felt more happy. I felt more peaceful, and I was going through a lot of pain at that time. My mom had just died and I was really struggling emotionally, but I definitely felt this sense of well-being lift me, and I became more relaxed in my body. So that's what I noticed. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you all. And if anybody has stories, similar stories, you can put them in the project and put them in the chat. And there's the Awaken Project link that Stephanie put in the chat if you'd like to take a look at that. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's see. Okay. So this is our website, ultlifestyle.com. The ultimate ultlifestyle.com will bring you to this page, and then you can use the code of the person to get the discounts that you'll see. But it's called the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. And I think it's really important to note the name, Lifestyle Transformation, because this is to help people actually learn to adopt healthier food, have healthier habits, and also let go of sugar and processed foods. It'll definitely change your taste buds so that you actually start to crave more alkaline foods, all right, more greens and more vegetables, and you will want more fruits and vegetables. They will become more desirable as a result of doing this transformation. It's going to help release habits and also release cravings. So there's a few different options here. Okay, I recommend people do the ULT Basic or the ULT Plus Immune. I definitely am a fan of the Plus Immune because it also has zinc, vitamin C, vitamin A, D, and E. And a lot of people are deficient in zinc and D these days. And so it's something that I highly recommend. But I'm going to start with the basic just so everyone can see. This is what's in all the different packs. But this is the first month of the 90 days. So you only order 1 month at a time. And you can just start with 1 month. There's various different, you can choose your shakes. You can customize it and choose which shakes you want. But this is a green drink that is equivalent to 6 to 12 microgreen salads, okay? What's important about this is the ingredients. It has spirulina, it has barley green juice powder, and spirulina is quite effective, even considered more effective at removing metals than chlorella is. But you can also add in chlorella. If you want to add chlorella in, you can add that in. But spirulina is the main ingredient in these shakes, and also any of the shakes that you choose. Okay, spirulina is going to be one of the primary ingredients. It's a superfood. It's a whole food that has all the vitamins and minerals, almost all the ones that you need, but not everything. Okay, so those are your greens. This is going to be 60 of your meals over a month. Okay, this is going to be twice a day. You're going to be doing these green drinks twice a day, and this is going to really make a huge impact on reducing metals. You also have the apothecary juice. This is a tart cherry juice that helps with deep sleep and stress reduction. Okay, so this helps people feel calmer. This helps balance cortisol levels. This helps with really deep sleep. Some people struggle with falling asleep. Some people struggle with staying asleep. So if you're either of those people, this can help you. Okay. The Biomedic is really amazing because this is what removes glyphosate. So clinically proven to remove 75%, 74.5 to be exact, 74.5% of glyphosate in 6 weeks. Okay, so I recommend that everyone is taking this on a daily basis because we're all getting glyphosate, even if we eat organic all the time. We still eat out at restaurants. There might be cross drift in the food that we're eating. There could still be contaminants. So the Biomedic is a key flagship product that we carry that's part of this pack. This helps also rebuild the gut villi. So the villi that are actually these little, hairs that actually absorb nutrients. This is going to help the body absorb those nutrients. The super cleanser also helps clean out the gut. This is really important. You take this for 10 days your first month, and then 10 days the second month. And so the first month, this is going to kill parasites, pathogens, bacteria that's unwanted in the body for 10 days. And then the next 20 days, when you're not taking it, is when those eggs that didn't get killed from parasites, different kinds of parasites, they lay eggs. So during the next 20 days, those parasites hatch. And so 20 days later, they're all hatched. And then you take these super cleanser herbs again, and that kills the second round of parasites that have hatched. So that's why you take this. This is how you take half the bag the first month, half the bag the second month, and then that's going to kill everything. So you've got your fruits, you got your vegetables, you've got your probiotics, your cleansing herbs, and you got your protein. So the super aminos is a plant-based protein. This also has L-theanine in it. It's got L-lysine in it. And so these are extremely helpful for killing bacteria, as well as helping, they have precursors to serotonin, okay? So the super aminos have precursors to serotonin, which is the happy juice, the happy hormone in the brain. And a lot of serotonin is actually produced in the gut. So that's why it's important to have a healthy, clean gut. And this is one of the first things we want to do with people who are experiencing autism, is we got to get our guts clean. We got to make sure our guts are clean so that our body's absorbing nutrients. If you have a child who's small, they can do half the pack. They can do half of this pack. They're going to do half a shake twice a day. Unless they love it and they want to do more, they're welcome to. But they can do well with doing the shake twice a day, just a half of a shake. Okay, so this has all different kinds of alfalfa leaf sprouts. There's the super meal, which is the other shake you can choose, has actually I'll go over that in a moment, but it has different kinds of things that are helpful for the gut. The super meal has broccoli sprouts, which is known to help repair leaky gut. So we got to get the gut health back online, and we also want to be alkalizing our body. These green drinks are going to highly alkalize our body, get us back up. Most people are eating acidic foods. If you eat any animal products, those are acidic. If you're eating processed foods, those are acidic. If you're eating even legumes and grains are not totally as alkaline as the blood. And so so it's like we're giving ourselves a break from all these things. We're going to be really living on this stuff, but you are going to be eating fruits and vegetables. I must say, you're going to be getting to eat throughout the day. You can have a clean and green meal, like maybe brown rice and vegetables or steamed vegetables or whatnot. Now, if you have a child who's finicky and you're trying to help them follow this protocol, one of the things I find is that they love these. They love these green drinks. They love the apothecary juice. They actually enjoy this. And we can work with their diet. We can work with like what their taste preferences are. You can introduce them to me or whoever your sponsor is, and we will, and they can help customize a protocol for them, because all of our coaches are very well-versed in all of these things. So this is 60 of your 90 meals. It's 2 meals a day of your 3 meals a day. So this will for $12 a day. So this will, for most people, save them money, because this is going to really reduce your grocery budget, right? It's going to really reduce your groceries. You're going to barely be buying groceries. It's going to be the majority of your food for a month. So it's $12 a day. So twice a day, you're spending $6 for your meal and supplements. So you can think of it like that. It saved me about $300 in food when I did it the very first month. I was really surprised that I was able to save so much money. I was like, wow, I'm like not spending anything. So so you'll see on the website that the retail price is $480 and your price is $360 with that code. Now you can't order without a code. You have to have a code in order to make this order. So you must get a code from the person who shared this with you. You click Get Started Today. And on the left side here, where it says month one, today's order, underneath that, it says, would you like to customize this? So I say, yes, customize this. And you can choose your shakes. So I recommend the first month to do 2 power shakes and 2 super meals. Save the dark berry protein for the last month. The dark berry protein does not have any greens in it. Okay. Only these 4 have greens in it. The dark berry does not have greens, does not have spirulina. So specifically for this protocol, we're talking about anxiety and autism. We want to remove metals. We want the greens in there. So get those 4. Okay, you can, so that's the first month. It's actually with taxes $371. And then the second month it goes down to $340. And the third month, $340. And then the fourth month you go into the maintenance pack. Now, I personally have stayed on this for a year. I stayed on month 2 and 3. I stayed on this pack for a straight year. And then now I would say I probably I'm doing more of the maintenance pack, but the maintenance pack is only $195. So that's like $6 or $7 a day for your meal plus all your supplements. And you can also customize this as well. And then you add it to your cart, and at some point it's going to ask you for a referral code. So then that's how you do it. You're just gonna, add it to cart. And then on the right side, you'll notice there's 2 sides. Okay, on your right side, you can scroll down and you're gonna see you can see everything in the cart there. And it only charges you when it goes out, when it ships out. So each month it charges you for whatever that month is. And so you can actually quit at any time if you feel like this isn't for you. You have the ability to quit. There's a 60-day money back guarantee. So it's really safe to try these products. You can always return it if it for any reason doesn't work out, but very few people actually return it. I noticed it's like, I asked Amy, she said about 1% of people return it. It's usually because they have like an allergy or something. So if you end up having any kind of allergies, let us know, because there's other ways to customize. We can actually itemize a cart for you and create a cart just for you. Okay. On top of that, I recommend, we're showing the midbrain where the metals can get stuck in, but we're not going to show that right now because we don't have time. But what I wanted to share with you is this is the heavy metal detox protocol. This is actually the medical medium heavy metal detox protocol by Anthony William. And I looked at it and I'm like, this is exactly what we need to be doing. And so we've added in the Purium fulvic zeolite. So the fulvic zeolite is a volcanic zeolite that actually is like a sphere. The way it's structured, it will go in, grab the metals, pull it out, and without, your body won't react to it as it's leaving the body. So it's a very safe form of zeolite. Our Purium fulvic zeolite is a very safe form of zeolite for removing metals. Also, the Purium ionic elements also is trace minerals. This also helps with detoxing metals. Other things you can also add, you can add on spirulina to your order. So you can have your own pack of spirulina. You can either do capsules, or you can do, or not capsules, you can do like they're either tabs, or you can do it in powder form, as well as barley green juice, the barley green juice. These are barley green juice and spirulina are both recommended also by Anthony Williams, medical medium. And so I just think it's important to note. But dulse is just a seaweed. This actually helps remove metals. Wild blueberries, bananas, cilantro is also known to reduce metals. So this is a smoothie you can make with all these different things in it. You can use blueberries frozen or wild blueberry juice, or there's even wild blueberry powder you can buy. But the morning starts off with this. So you could add this to your ultimate lifestyle. I said, I recommend the ultimate lifestyle transformation, and then just adding in a few extra products. I would add in the fulvic zeolite, the ionic elements. I would add in some extra spirulina and some extra barley green juice powder, if you can afford that. If you can't afford these add-ons, just do the ULT. You'll still see some progress with the ULT. Okay. So just do the ULT, but you definitely want to have lemon in the water, or lemon water throughout the day, unboiled water. Okay. You want to have water that's unboiled. You don't want it to be touched by any electricity. So not electrolyzed water. You just want to have raw, filtered water with lemon in it. Okay. So this lemon is going to actually add in all kinds of trace minerals and electrolytes, and this will help remove metals. It'll help lift the metals for removal. And then 30 minutes later, you can do celery juice if you want to add that on. So you add in celery juice, have like an entire stalk of celery, an entire bunch of celery, and just juice that, 16 to 32 ounces of celery juice on an empty stomach. And then later you can add in this smoothie. And then you can do this smoothie 30 minutes later. So it's all spelled out right here. The person who invited you can like share this with you. We have it in our team app. And so like that. Actually here, I'm going to go ahead and copy this and I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. So any questions? Love to go ahead. I'm probably going to end the recording here and then I'm just going to type this in the chat. What the detox heavy metal protocol is. There it is. Okay. Whew. Look at you guys have all stayed on for so long. I'm so impressed. Was that helpful? I'd love to hear any takeaways you've got from this. Any takeaways? Any thoughts?
Super helpful. Amazing. I love that we're all like, oh, we're on the spectrum now. We have so much more compassion for ourselves.
Yes, we're all on the spectrum.
And I love, continually finding out different ways, having those aha moments of like how these heavy metals continue to, and come into our bodies, even though we've been cleansing. I've been cleansing with Purium now for almost 9 years. And, I feel really strong and really good every day. And then, and at the same time, I'm aware of these deeper issues and it's just, I don't know, it's sometimes mind blowing to think about all the toxicity and it overwhelms even my brain sometimes. And it's just great to hear why I'm doing this all the time and how, we've all, anybody who's here right now is just in my way of thinking, just incredibly lucky and blessed because Purium doesn't have, billions of dollars in ad marketing. Like you are finding out because somebody cared enough to tell somebody who cared enough to tell somebody, so just even finding out about this brand, developed by these people, these incredible pioneers of the natural products industry means that you have a huge light. And in my theology or whatever, it means that you have a lot more to do here. And I'm just grateful to constantly be, uplifted by your work and your, sitting here with us on a Saturday morning and being so prepared and so respectful. And
thank you.
It's deep, powerful work. And I can't thank everybody enough for just being here to listen and to learn and to just ask the questions. So that's really what I wanted to say is this. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And what you said, pioneers are like brands of natural products, of just the consciousness of our nutrients, the soil, replenishing that in the earth and our bodies. Thank you, Rachel, for this, having this available and the community support, that this exists, that we can come together and uplift each other, educate each other and empower each other. I had a death experience at age 8 and was in special needs classes for most of my life and didn't take advantage of like the disability resource department in college until a decade after high school. And just being in society where they expect a box and these functions and this conventional style that I never fit in, and that we have different intelligence, we have different connections on an unseen, like the spiritual level, and we have different gifts to share, to bring to like this cultivation of new earth and a harmonization of humanity and unity on a deeper level for us to have a functioning understanding and purpose, and knowing how important nutrition is and what's going on in our generations, and to have a deeper depth on the sincerity and compassion individually and collectively. It's really nice to know that it's happening and that we can come together, because being able to function in certain expectations isn't all for everyone, and being able to know that we can be supported in many areas is uplifting. It's a relief, and that there's nothing wrong with us at how to manage this and develop the skills so that we can be more effective and we can live happier and healthier and be creative in our expression and feel good. But yeah, thank you for all. It's a lot as we're running over. So
Thank you. Appreciate you, Tara Shea. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you all for coming and being here. I really appreciate you. And thanks for just being supportive to whoever in your life might be struggling with any of these things. And we appreciate you sharing this video with anyone who could use some support. And lots of love. I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm going to let the conversation continue. All right.